We have Cameron here. Cameron is a sales manager here with Become Viral. Thank you so much, Cameron, for joining us here. So for
100%.
context, for people watching, can you kind of explain a little bit what your role is at Become Viral, and then how many deals would you say that you guys are responsible for closing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the sales manager here. I run a smaller team, I think about 8 people now. 3, 4 closers, 3, 4 setters, and then myself. We started off with just 3 people total in the business. Was myself, our owner Devin, and then an appointment setter. And I was closing deals and trying to get us to scale. And now, we started off doing 60, 80, 100K a month, and now we're doing 180, 200, 250K a month. I think our biggest month was 310, and we're pushing towards $500,000 months now, which is great.
Let's go.
Um, but yeah, so as far as our role goes, we do have a YouTube offer where we show people how to run successful channels. Our success rate is extremely high. We've got a great back end for that, and then our team is responsible for getting people to see the value in what we do, get them to see how easy it is to run a channel at the end of the day. Um, and yeah, I'd say as far as deals go, I was happy when I was closing by myself at 4 or 5 deals a week because I was making great money and it was just me and Devin. And now we're at about 45 to 50 units a month, so about that 200 to 220,000 range a month. And that's
Dang.
with 3 closers, so 10, 12 deals a piece.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And growing. So,
definitely.
well,
And with
cool.
your
Well,
and growing with your help.
let's do it, man. We got some more stuff here. And so before, I guess before NZT, so we've been working on this program together. Kind of analyzing calls. I guess walk me through, like, how were you coaching your team? Like, what did that process look like?
Yeah, so ideally the process was when it was just me, I was going through as much training as I possibly could in the online space. I had been in sales for 8 years. But when I got to the online space, it was a huge transition for me going into high ticket closing. And for the first month, I was pretty bad at it. The good news is for that first month or two, I didn't close any deals, but I made every mistake you can possibly make really fast. So I got really good at it really fast. I went from 0% close rate to about a 65% close rate within 3 months.
That's incredible, though. Jeez.
So, and I just took endless calls. I had 10, 12 calls a day for 6 days a week, and I just got really, really proficient at it. So, what I ended up doing when we hired our first few sales guys was trying to show them what I was doing, and that's what I based it off of. Um, Fast forward a year or two, you have a much bigger team. QCing is a lot harder when there's 8 people of calls that you have to listen to over just me and the setter and maybe one other closer. So, my process would be I want to listen to 4 calls a week per salesman. So I'd listen. We have 3 closers. That's 12 closing calls that I'd listen to. We have 4 setters. So that's 16 setting calls that I would listen to a week to do live QCs. And try and control what I could from there, and then focus on what we needed to train on. So for me, it was listening to as many calls as humanly possible, and then identifying trends and identifying patterns within our current lead group or a current prospect group and figuring out how we needed to approach that current prospect group. So yeah, I'm honest about it. I try not to work more than 40 hours a week, but
Yeah.
that 40 hours a week was filled to the brim with listening to calls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a big thing is saving time. So I guess walk me through, like, so what happens after a closer finishes a call? Like, how do they know what they did right versus wrong?
Well, if they took money or not, that's the first
Yeah.
indicator, of course. But after that, they don't always know what they did right or wrong right away. Because if I didn't get to review it or they weren't honest on their EOD, I might miss that call where there was something that could have been improved. Or I say, hey, can you send me a call or two that you want reviewed for the day? They might not send me their worst one, or they might not send me one that I would actually want to review. They
Yeah.
might, and thinking of it from a closer's perspective, they might send me a call that somebody had a major objection for that they thought they should have been able to handle. When in all reality, I want to listen to the call where they said a follow up, there was no objections, and the person didn't show up to the follow up,
Right.
right? So, as far as what happens after the closers finish a call, it depends on if I get to catch it or listen to that one right away. And again, I was pretty good about it, but still, calls fall through the cracks because they don't always send me their best ones, their worst ones. I don't always, I can't listen to all 8 calls for all 3 closers every single week. So
Right. Well, I mean,
um, you do what you can.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was closing, there was calls over there I just was embarrassed about. Like, I know I should have
Yeah.
asked or pushed harder, but I
Yeah,
didn't for whatever reason. Like, maybe I didn't have my second cup of coffee for the day, or like something
exactly.
happened that day. I just didn't feel like it.
Well,
Uh,
you offer a follow up to get scheduled, and you don't want to send that call to your sales manager to watch
yeah,
him watch you not do what you're supposed to do.
yeah, that happens. So I guess when someone didn't close, how long did it take to figure out like why? What was the process?
Typically, probably 24 to 48 hours, because
Okay,
if they didn't show up to that follow up, then I would immediately flag that call to be listened to. So let's say they had a call on a Monday. They set a follow up. Oh, you got to let me get through the week. Let me reach out to me Thursday, Friday. Let's set a follow up, right?
right.
If they didn't immediately want that one reviewed because they think that follow up's closing, I might not want to review that one until Thursday or Friday when I see that the follow up didn't show up.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
sometimes the loop could even span a week, but most of the time, I don't get to things for 24 or 48 hours because again, I let the day finish up. I don't listen to their calls as soon as they get off. Plus, it takes a while for them to download.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next day, I'm listening to the previous day's worth of calls that I feel like I should be.
Right. And then so you're managing three closers. Like how many calls are happening daily that you can't physically listen to?
Well, let's take yesterday for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 calls booked on the calendar yesterday, five for each of them. I listened to two yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the reality. I guess give me an example that of a deal that slipped through that maybe you didn't catch until it was too late. Like what
Well,
happened?
that, and I will say I'll correct myself. Normally, after a 15-day call today, I would have listened to two random calls, but because of the analysis that I've been getting, I
Yeah.
chose the two that I needed to listen to. Just a
Yeah.
correction there, because that's actually
Dude,
true.
that's awesome.
Um,
So that kind
for
of that kind of helps you sort things out a little bit too. So like what's critical, at least in the moment.
Yeah, 100%. But
Okay.
repeat your last question.
Oh, I just give me an example of a deal that slipped through that maybe you didn't catch until it was too late. So like what happened? That
A big one would be spouse objections that happen
yeah.
pretty frequently, where and it's husband or wife, same thing. Most of the time, it's a husband who needs to talk to the wife, and it's obviously anybody in the industry knows it's usually a smokescreen. But a lot of times, unless I listen to that specifically, I can't go over with the closers like, hey, that he just needed help with the finances. He didn't need to talk to his wife about spending a couple $1,000s. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so some of those slip through the cracks where they could have either deposit closed, they could have set up a two pay where they go half down. Hey, talk to your wife. If she
Yeah.
files for divorce, we'll figure it out. But if not, you'll be good to go anyways. Right. So those were the ones that for me usually slip through the cracks because on the EOD, they just blame it on the wife when that's not always the case.
Yeah.
It can be 100% and not it can be the majority of the time it's a smokescreen or something else is bothering them. So those are the
Yeah.
ones that usually fall through that don't get caught on the closer's EODs because they don't say, oh, I didn't run through a full financial situation. It just says had to speak to wife.
Yeah. You did something on a call that shocked me, and that's the first time I've ever heard of that. Where you're like, well, get her on the is she available? Can you get her on the phone?
Oh
And
yeah.
I
So
was like this is mastery. It's
I'm
insane. Like
I'm
that was
pretty
so perfect. It was
I'm
so perfect.
Yeah, I'm pretty brutal when it comes to that stuff like that. So if I'm talking to, I go through a little progression where if I'm on with a guy and he's like, "Yeah, man, no, everything sounds good. I just need to run it by my wife." I'll say, "Okay, cool. Let's put her off to the side right now. Let's pretend she wasn't there for just a second. Would you be starting right away head first?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I would be." It's like, "Okay, cool. Is your wife home by any chance?" And they'll be, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, if she's home, maybe we can get her on and ask. She might have questions that I can help answer." And
Yeah.
right then you see people kind of stutter where they're like, well, no, no, she's not home right now. I'm like, okay, cool. Is she working? Oh, no, she's was running something. Awesome. Well, let's get her on the phone. See if you can call her up real fast. Let's double check that she's cool with you guys bettering your situation.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's not going to have a problem with that, right?
Yeah.
And just it it catches people off guard. Two,
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal when somebody's like, I'm not going to call her. And I'm like, okay, cool. So what's really bothering you then?
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
are like, you know what, the finances, it's a little rough. That's a lot up front. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's talk about the finances because I didn't think it was going to be your wife in the first place, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's see. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's jump into a conversation about the money because if I can make that work, are you down to get started? And most of the time, they're like, yeah, if you can make the money work, I'm down to get started. So it's like, okay, cool.
You break down the real objection
Yeah,
because they're
and
just
it's this.
using the wife, their spouse, whatever, as a barrier.
It's the same thing as most high ticket trainings goes, where you're isolating the objection. I'm just doing it in a brutally like
Yeah,
transparent way, where I'm like, if you're telling me your wife's the objection, let's is she home? One, two, get
yeah,
her on. Three, if she's not, call her.
yeah, dude, I love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
we'll switch a little bit. When you first saw NZT analyze a call, I guess what was your first reaction? What stood out to you immediately?
First initial reaction when I saw the very first analysis was, whoa, this is detailed. That was just like my first initial
Yep.
thing. And I hadn't seen anything like that before. So I want to say overwhelming, but in a good way, not in a
Yep.
bad way. It was like, this is a lot to look at, but let's start diving into what all this means, right? So that
Yep.
would have been my initial reaction.
Cool. And what did it? I guess what did it catch that you might have missed, or maybe have taken you a long time to catch?
Um, as far as catching things goes, I like that the way that you set it up broke it down into the categories that are important to me. So like we have our discovery, then we have a financial discovery, then we have our pitch, then we have a delivery, then we have price drop, then we have post price drop. So I like that we separated those things out because when I'm looking at things at face value, sometimes those get squished together. Like all
Yep.
of your discovery is one chunk, all of your delivery, price drop, and payment plans or whatever is all one chunk, and then you have your pitch. So most most online offers think of it as discovery, pitch, price, right?
Yep.
I like that we could separate it into even more categories where it was discovery, financial discovery, pitch, delivery, price drop, post price drop, because now I can catch littler things in each of those buckets.
Yep.
That's what I like that it catches for me is that it's analyzing each different part that is important to our process.
Is there something at NZT caught that didn't that maybe surprised you, like a pattern that you didn't know existed?
Yeah, definitely with open wallet. Because I listen to the guys' calls and
Yep.
a version of open wallet is done every single time,
Yep.
but it's almost never done in its entirety on every single sales call. And that
Okay.
pattern was blatantly obvious through NZT, where it literally says, 4 of 7 open wallet questions asked, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, 3 of 7, 5 of 7, 4 of 7. And I know everybody's in a different situation, but that would
Yep.
be one pattern where it was like, okay, cool. So they are doing a version of open wallet every single call. They are trying, but not everybody's doing it to the fullest extent every single call.
Yep. Yeah. We could dive into a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like how has like your job changed? What are you spending time on now versus maybe what you shouldn't have before?
So I would say since getting it integrated and onboarding fully, it's helping me pick and choose what calls I actually want to listen to, and for
Yeah.
me, that's the most exciting part.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think I told you the last time that we met, but me and Devin, the owner of our
Yeah.
company, um, we're in Texas together at an Airbnb, and it was like Sunday night or Saturday night or something. We had just gotten dinner, and I was sitting there scrolling and staring at my phone for like an hour. And he goes, "Are you scrolling through Instagram?" I was like, "No, I'm reading all these sales analyses." It's like we had 9 or 10 calls on Friday and Saturday, and I'm just reading
Yeah.
through each and every single one. It's addicting to look at because
Yeah.
I can see every single conversation so quickly. But
Yeah.
um, as far as like my day to day goes and my job specifically, it's made it way easier to identify what calls I actually want to listen to. And then the cool thing that I like even more is I don't necessarily have to bring all the closers together for every single thing that I want to work on.
Right.
So what I've been doing is having you email me all the analyses, the ones that I think are not red flags, but the ones that I think are important.
Right.
We go over live, and I get to bring them into a call, and we actually review the call live together, so they can see what I'm talking about. And then the ones that are less important, hey, you needed a stronger discovery here.
Yeah.
Hey, you set next steps, but it wasn't an actual static follow up. Those ones I can email to them for them to go over and read, double check, send me back a response, and I know that they've acknowledged it, and we didn't have to spend 45 minutes going through an entire call just to tell them,
Yep.
hey, you set next steps, but you needed a real time and date for the follow up, right?
And it saves the sales reps time too. I mean,
Yeah,
they focus on, closing, doing their thing.
exactly. And then because of that, my time is freed up to help out Salman, who's our operations guy, jump on with you whenever we need to work on things, and then jump on obviously with Devin, who's running the ship to make sure that everything that we're working on for our lead magnets, lead flow, getting calls on the board, can happen.
Yeah,
So I would say a lot less of my day is spent listening to calls.
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say to other sales managers who are reviewing their calls manually right now?
Uh, uh, it's, uh, sounds rough now after I'm not doing it. If I would say keep doing what you're doing unless you have a better solution, and there is a better solution,
Yep.
and it would be NZT. I would say good. That's awesome that they're doing their job. They're listening to their calls manually. I know I've had a few friends that are sales managers that don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they jump on trainings and they book call reviews, and when stuff comes up, they happen. They're not proactively QCing. And I think there's sales managers are out there. It's just a fact. If you're one of those sales managers, you should 100% want this because you can still be lazy and actually be training your team.
Right.
And hopefully you're not lazy and you use this to your advantage and go over live calls with them. But yeah, that's what I would say is this if you're not already a proactive sales manager, this could make you lazy real fast because it's such an instant feedback loop. There's so much stuff to work on so quickly that um, you don't have to fight for what calls you're listening to and what you need to work on.
Yep.
The analyses that come in are so pointed that it's pretty clear what you need to work on.
Yeah, I had somebody say that something like this, it helps the average salesperson dangerous and the elite closer lethal. So someone who's
Yeah,
really good. So I would imagine the exact thing for sales managers. Someone like yourself who's just on top of his game, like you could be completely lethal. For a
no,
sales manager that maybe is overwhelmed with, the reason why he's not listening to calls, probably he's overwhelmed with, tons of other things. He's maybe, has a ton of closers calls. He just can't do it. Physically
that
cannot.
and I
And
think it shifts a
what
little bit of responsibility as well where so let's say your team's closing percentage is down 10-15%. I can admit we all have those weeks, right, where just the team didn't do great or calls didn't go so well or maybe prospects just weren't as strong. But at least you can say the excuse wasn't we didn't know why they didn't close,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That's one thing that me and Devin talk about a lot is like if we make mistakes, if we don't close something, we just at least want to know why or what to learn from it. And
Yep.
this helps out a lot with that.
Yep.
Whereas before we don't close deals, yeah, I can listen to it. See, I can listen to a shitload of them, but it doesn't mean I'm going to catch every little thing.
Yep. And I know we just started, so you may not have a number yet, but what in your mind, like what has the ROI been, at least having NZT analyze a sales team's calls?
I mean, for one of our guys, Mo, I would say it already probably 2X'd his production because last
Dude,
week
that's awesome.
I
Yeah.
mean, you saw Mo finish super strong
Yeah.
last month, and then he's got the most deals out of this month, which we have had a slightly slower start for January, which is fine. We're catching back up already. But yeah, Mo's the only one that's still consistently closing, and he was the one that was struggling,
Yep.
2-3 months ago.
And I keep seeing more paid in fools come in too.
Yeah, we got a good amount more paid in fulls, which is nice. Which is funny because volume went down just slightly, and
Right.
but because they're I one of the metrics that I had you set up for me was I wanted to see how long they were, and I call it dropping their pants. I want to
Yeah.
I want to see how long they're staying on our paid in full cost before dropping their pants and offering a super long
Right.
payment plan. And because now that metric is there, they can say, "Oh, Cam's going to see that I only spent 10 seconds on paid in full, or Cam's going to see that I only
Yeah.
spent 30 seconds." And it's like, "No, I want you on that paid in full price for 3 to 5 minutes before you're moving on."
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
funny, his volume has gone down a little bit, which we'll have to adjust for, of course, as we're
Yeah.
learning the new way we want to do things. But we also got 3 or 4 more paid in fulls because they actually stuck to their guns.
Yeah. Well, that shows that like, people are willing to pay,
Yeah.
and so that's just kind of the back and forth part of the sales process of like, there's people out there who have the money, they're willing to pay, and the sales guy just needs to just push just a little bit more and he can get,
And that's
people
my
going.
thing. I always analyze or not analyze. I always compare sales to um, car and old car sales because that's where people got like the notorious salesmen or slimy type deals from old car salesmen, right?
Right.
But like I still think there's a ton of value from it. But in general, on the prospect side of things, sorry, random tangent there.
Yeah.
Um, I just got a quote for my truck for $1,042 to fix a temperature gauge.
Damn.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I I'm 100% willing and able to spend that $1,042, and I'm
Right,
probably going to. I'm still gonna ask the guy what he can do for me.
right,
Hey
right.
man, is there anything we can do if I pay you cash, if I pay it all up front at once, if I if I take your daughter out on a date and show her, you know what I mean? What is it?
You
What can
might
I
call around too, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. What can I do? And
Yeah,
that's what most people are is they hear a higher price point for a higher ticket item like coaching or mentorship. They still want to do it. They're probably still willing and
yeah,
able to do it, but they're going to ask, "Hey, what can you do for me? Can we split that up? Is that all up front?" Like they're going to have questions. And sometimes just being like, "Hey man, not really. This is what we do. But I promise you the what you're receiving is going to be worth every penny of that cost."
yeah,
And literally half the time people are going to be like, "All right, sounds good. At least I asked." And then the other half of the time, that's when people are like, okay, well, that's going to be a little bit much for me. It's like,
yeah,
that's perfectly fine. At least I stuck to my guns. Now let's see if we can figure out a game plan that works for you.
yeah. And on a business level, I mean, you have a product that's going to help people. You have, a really great product. It works. It's been proven. And then you have, the extra money then that sales people to be happy. You're happier. You got
Yep,
more money that you could run advertisements to pay for things in the business. I mean, just things just
definitely.
grow. It just helps improve things all around.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. And by increasing production even a little bit, that's the cool thing is especially with the cost of the of NZT and just the integration. I think what, one deal pays for itself times five. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And by the way, we're not our offer. I don't know if people know we're not super expensive. We're not a $20,000 offer. You know, we're a mid
yeah,
four-figure offer, and
yeah,
having that extra production, even one deal pays for itself plus so much extra. So,
yeah,
um, as far as value goes on stuff like that, it's pretty unmatched. And it's the first, I think I told you and Devin this too, but it's the first time I've seen anything like this. Because I would take transcripts and spit them into chat GPT, but it doesn't have all the parameters that I'm looking for. It just has
yeah,
generic sales advice, and I don't like that. I don't even like guru sales advice.
yeah,
I listen to it because there's good takeaways. But when you have something that's like completely customized and tailored to your offer, your product, your service, your discovery, your pitch, your price drop, and it's completely tailored to that, you're getting instant feedback on what you're actually supposed to be doing.
yeah, yeah. Well, and we took it from you because you're the top sales guy there. And
Yeah,
so what would Cameron do if Cameron was on that call? And that's exactly kind of what that is. And,
100%.
and working on a version right now. Well, hopefully we will launch this here real soon, where we can get Cameron, virtual Cameron, on the call with the sales team, going over objections as it's going on right now. So
That would be wild.
as soon as that gets live, I'm gonna give that over to you, have you
Yeah, I was
test
gonna
it
say
out.
use me as a guinea pig for that for
Yep.
sure.
Yep. Dude, it's gonna be a game changer.
That'd be cool. Can we wait until I'm a little bit more jacked so we can make the avatar all buff?
Well, we have AI now, so we just post your head
Okay,
on
there
like
we
someone
go.
who's super buff, so you're good. You're
That's
good to
funny.
go. But well, speaking of it, like why, in your opinion, why is NZT a game changer for sales teams?
I would say first and foremost, efficiency, biggest thing. Instantaneous feedback loop for the closers. Efficiency for myself to be able to pick and choose what calls really need to be listened to, because every sales manager knows the calls that get sent to them are the least embarrassing calls, not the ones that actually need to be gone over.
Right.
Um, instant feedback loop, efficiency on the sales manager's side, and then production value, right? By getting that instant feedback loop and those scores, your production's automatically going to go up. I'd say 9 out of every 10 people want to get better. I think it's very rare if somebody got feedback from a call and they were like, "Well, I'm going to do it the exact same. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to continue to be bad."
Right.
I don't think that really exists. So that would I would say is the biggest valuable things that I would say is instant feedback loop and then time efficiency for myself.
Awesome. Cool. Cameron, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with me and
Yeah,
sharing all
100%.
that. Cool. Well, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
that concludes it. But man, I really appreciate you share that. And actually, I didn't know that about Mo either. I've seen the paid in fulls come in, but but that's
He's not
exciting to hear
he's
his
not going
his
crazy
progress.
or anything, but he's the only one consistently closing right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we need.
Yeah.
So shoot, man.
He's I think for him his discovery was cuz so here's the thing with Mo, he's so well trained
Yeah,
Like he came from this guy named Lawrence's group, and he just went to every single class, every single session,
Yep.
mock calls after mock calls after mock calls. So he knows exactly what he's supposed to ask and say at every point in time. But that digs him into a hole when he gets into deep discovery with logical people,
Right.
where he's like,
Right.
"Hey, so why do you really want to make this work?" And somebody who's logical is gonna be like, "Oh, I want extra money. What do you want the extra money for? What's it really gonna do for you?" And they're like, "Ah, you know, help me pay off a car. Maybe I can buy a rental property."
Yeah.
And he goes, "But what's really your goal here?" And they're like, "What are you fucking talking about? I just told you I want extra money. I want to pay off some property." Okay, but what would that extra $10,000 do for you? He's
Yeah.
like, he's trying to go so by the books that it gets lost
Right.
in translation. And I think now, because I've been showing him some of the discovery scores and the prospect identification, where I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, you didn't really identify this guy as a logical buyer, and you went into this huge emotional discovery.
Yeah.
And then I think kind of switching that was like, yo, if you get somebody who's entrepreneurial, who has a decent mindset, has started a business before, has knows anybody in the online space, you don't need to ask them their life's fucking mission and goals forever. Ask them for a couple goals. What do we want to make? Why do we want to make that? Sick. Are you willing to use YouTube as your way to get there? Also sick. Do you have time? Do you have money? Okay, you literally would be perfect to work with us. Let's talk about it now.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that was his thing. But it was cool to get to show him, like, yo, your prospect identity. You're not realizing that this guy's a logical buyer. You're not realizing that this lady's an emotional buyer. You're not realizing that this person needs to be coached and told what to do. You're not realizing that this person's an A type, where you have to let him tell you what to do and then let him convince himself to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
there's some people
anyways,
who, I mean, the A types are sometimes the easiest ones. You just gotta like do a little convincing, and they already have in their mind what they want to
oh,
do.
I have them set the A types for me only, where I'm like, hey, if they're a dickhead on the setting call, just send them to me.
Yeah.
One, the closers don't need to be dealing with it, and two, I'm gonna drop price in 5 minutes, and I'm gonna tell them to put a credit card down.
Yeah. And then they'll do it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey man, I can make you a shitload of money. I'm not gonna bullshit you with the sales process. Do you have a few extra hours to work on YouTube? Cool. Do you want to be more hands-on or hands-off? You want to be more hands-off? Do you have extra money for a channel manager or somebody like a virtual assistant? Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Well, for 7 grand, I can make you a shitload more than that in the next 3 months. What do you say?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Done.
Um,